Yeah.
Recording in progress. Yes, thank you. Recording in progress.
Right.
You're good to go?
Oh, great.
That's what I do. That's my life. Time-wise, are okay? Oh, Susan,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
if
Oh,
necessary,
yeah.
we could do this, but, all on outside. Do we? Oh, is there something else?
For the rest of the letter.
Oh, okay. So maybe at least she was. She was-
I believe so.
I'd like to call the meeting to order, and as I'm sure you all are aware, tomorrow's the 23rd anniversary of the September 11th attacks on our nation. So after the pledge, please remain standing and to observe a moment of silence in honor of those who perished or were injured and their loved ones.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Supervisor Moore.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Present.
Councilman Iacilli.
Present.
Councilman Pell.
Here.
Councilman Scrivone.
Present.
All right, I move to accept the minutes of the special town board meeting of August 27th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I move to accept the meeting minutes of the regular town board meeting of August 27th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank Deputy Clerk, would you please read the communications?
The following communications were filed in the office of the town clerk. Public notices from the town of Riverhead, the town of Southold, public hearing notice and a notice of adoption. The village of North Haven, public hearing notice and zoning board of appeals notices. The New York State Liquor Authority 30-day advance notice for a new application, doing business as the Quaggy's Pub, Montauk Highway, East Quogue. We have one financial disclosure statement filing, and the following emails and letters were received regarding the following. The Hampton Bays Pattern Book Update, Piping Culvert Protection, Town and Trustee Access Roads, Gibson Lane, Sagaponack, and Traffic Safety on Vale Avenue, East Quogue. The following two bids were opened on September 4th, 2024, both for the Water District. One was the SCADA and Tank Monitoring Upgrade Contract A and Contract B. And the following report was filed by the Town Comptroller, the August 2024 monthly financial reports. And that concludes the communications.
Thank you. And I've got 6 walk-ons, so I move to add these 6 walk-ons to the agenda for today. The first is Town Board Resolution ID number 47380 to authorize the supervisor to execute an intermunicipal agreement with Suffolk County as it relates to the use of Suffolk County Water Quality Protection and Restoration Program for Phase 1 of the Riverside Sewer System, to accept the grant award from the county. Second is Town Board Resolution ID number 47386 to authorize the waiver of Parks and Recreation Facility Use Fee for the Hampton Bays Lions Club 13th Annual Over the Bridge 10K Run Walk on September 14th, 2024. The third is Town Board Resolution ID number 47388 for the warrant, number 17. The fourth is Town Board Resolution ID number 47390 to retain Farrell Fritz PC as it relates to the matter of the Town of Riverhead et al. Versus the Town of Southampton et al. And the Riverside Sewer District Project. The fifth is a Town Board Resolution ID number 47393 to retain Brian M. Killian Esquire of the law firm of Morgan, Lewis, and Bacchius, the LLP, for federal and state land use matters. And the sixth is Town Board Resolution ID number 47395 to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with Great Lakes Dredge and Dock Company for the Bridgehampton and Sagaponack Beach Erosion Control District Nourishment Project.
I'll second this.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please read the first public hearing notice?
Public hearing number 1, to consider the acquisition of 180 and 182 Red Creek Road in the hamlet of Hampton Bays, New York, and amend the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the properties.
Good afternoon, Jacqueline Fenlon here, Community Preservation Director. It's nice to see you all. Hello, Madam Supervisor, Town Council members. So we are here first for public hearing number 1, which is 180 and 182 Red Creek Road in the hamlet of Hampton Bays. And then also to add this and amend our CPF management and stewardship plan to include these properties. These two properties actually you can see right here. Just to the west is actually a Nature Conservancy property, which is primarily tidal wetlands, which is right here. And this property is specifically owned by the Elizabeth G. Young Revocable Trust. They are the purported owners of the 2 parcels of land, which total approximately 1.9 acres. They are again located at 180 and 182 Red Creek Road in the hamlet of Hampton Bays. Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-172.1-121.2 and also 900-172.1-121.2 respectively. The Elizabeth G. Young Revocable Trust has expressed an interest in selling the 2 properties in the amount of $1,025,000. So this property is located in the CPF management plan, and they are designated as open space greenbelt target areas and open space target area, also located in the trail priority area of Red Creek Pond.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Jackie?
Nope, these are good ones.
No, this is great. This is preservation for Hampton Bays, open space, and it's definitely a great acquisition, great prospect for us.
Yeah, and I just wanted to let you know that both of these properties are developable. They are impacted by wetland restrictions, but they do have the ability to be developed. So this would be removing 2 homes within, the area of sensitive wetland area.
It's great.
So.
Thank you, Jackie.
You're welcome.
No homes currently on the properties.
No,
but
they're
able
currently
to be
vacant.
developed if
Yeah,
needed.
they're currently vacant and they're impacted by wetlands along this
Uh-huh.
western boundary. Yeah.
I don't have any cards on this, or any cards actually. But Peter, is there anybody on Zoom that would like to comment on this first public hearing?
No one on Zoom.
Okay. All right, then I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please read the notice for the second public hearing?
Public hearing number 2, to consider the acquisition of 867 Millstone Road in the hamlet of Noyak, New York, and amend the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Good afternoon again, Jacqueline Fenlon, CPF Director. So this is a property located at 867 Millstone Road. This is owned by private developers of J&D LI Home Builders, LLC. This property is approximately 0.5 acres. You can see it right here, highlighted in yellow. This property actually was subject to a county reverter for first-time home buyers. So we were contacted with this property last year because unfortunately the current owners were not aware of the first-time home buyer restriction. So when they purchased the property, they were unaware. They did look at and were made aware of this. We've been working with Suffolk County, Sarah Lansdale, as well as legislators to address this issue. They did pass a resolution in December of 23 that said if the purpose is used for open space, that they would be willing to waive that. So we have been coordinating with the county on this to make sure we can get to a price for the value of the property that expresses how much the current property owner has paid for the property and invested in the property. But this will also be a good asset. As you can see, it is adjacent to existing town open space. And there's also open space directly to the south. And this is also located, it's listed in the community preservation plan as an open space greenbelt target area and open space target area for the trail within the Eastern GIS. So that's an important open space target area with trail implications in this portion of the town.
Question for you, was
Sure.
this we also looked at this, if I'm not mistaken, with CHF to do the
Correct.
first time home buyer unit, but
Yes.
because of the slope of the property, it was
Mhm.
financially not feasible
Yeah,
to
so
build
in
that?
looking at this, we did meet with several non-for-profits and, we counseled with them about the development. Unfortunately, because of the steep grade and the topography on this property, it's almost infeasible to be able to construct an affordable housing dwelling. So we did look at this and we did work with Kara Bach, the director of community
I just
housing.
wanted to make it clear that we weren't
Yes,
just
yeah.
throwing out a
Yes.
buyer benefit.
Yeah, and that's why also they contacted us probably early last fall. We looked at this, the town board did authorize appraisals, and then we really truly went over to see if it was a valid building lot. And this very board also double checked and wanted to make sure that, this could not be developed for affordable housing. So we did evaluate that, and unfortunately, just because of the grading and the excavation that would be necessary on this lot, it's really not feasible to build this for an affordable housing lot because of those costs. So. And I just want to say that it's been a pleasure working with the county on this one. We received the appraisals back and we got the accepted offer. And I just wanted to say that the approval will be subject to that county waiver. And we have been working with them on the right of the reverter for the first-time home buyer. So we'll work with county officials to get that waiver accomplished for the closing of this property. But the resolution has already been passed by a Suffolk County legislature.
Oh, good. Okay.
Just a comment about this parcel. It is in the deep water recharge area of the South Fork, and this is along the ridge of the moraine, so it's an important acquisition in my opinion.
Yeah, and we've gone through all the deed restrictions. Dan has been very helpful going through the title issues, how we can release this existing deed restriction. So we know Sarah Lansdale is able to sign that waiver on behalf of the county departments, and so we've been meeting with them routinely, and we have a meeting with them next week. So the first step is to have this public hearing so we can move towards a closing.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else have any other questions for Jack?
No.
Peter, is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to be heard?
No one on Zoom.
Thank you. All right, then I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Madam Deputy Clerk, would you please read the notice for the third final public hearing?
Yes. Public hearing number 3 for the adoption of an updated pattern book for the hamlet of Hampton Bays.
Good afternoon. How are you? Janice Shearer, Town Planning and Development Administrator. So we're on our third round of edits for the pattern book. I have submitted a memo to you with the changes that were made to date, with the bullets and all the various pages that were updated. I'm just here in case you have questions or you want further updates. I'm taking notes and however you want it to be completed. If you have any questions?
Just wanted to note that we put more time into this pattern book and more public input than most towns do on their comprehensive land use plan.
Yeah.
Janice,
Good
one
point.
thing that you mentioned at one point was that the title, Pattern Book for Hampton Bays Downtown District, and you had mentioned at one point you thought that perhaps the word district should come out. What were you, it's still there, is that still your thinking? I think
We
we're gonna
can
have
take
some
out the
more
word
change.
district. It can just say pattern book for Hampton Bays downtown. It can say pattern book for Hampton Bays business corridor. I mean, it's really whatever you wanted to say. The idea was you have a lot of infill development potential in that central business BB area, but also, you know, what if Carvel came in? What if, you know, we have AutoZone or whoever wants to come in? Can we apply this to that Montauk Highway corridor? And I would think that the planning board would take best practices and take a look at it, but there's nothing. The longer we go with this, there's not much, you know, that it's really requiring. It's not code, it's just best practices.
But if you take out the word district, is it more likely then to be able to be applied to the rest of the highway corridor?
Sure. I mean, you know, you're just really talking about best practices and architectural styles for the village business initially. That was really the point. So, I mean, I think you should just say Hampton Bays downtown.
If we use the word district, is there any particular issues? Because we're not necessarily creating a specific district like a sewer district.
I would call it, I think what
erosion
district is
district or a
referring to is
lighting district.
business district.
Right.
But it's not a bid or a business improvement district. It's not a special taxing
Yeah.
district.
It's,
There's no
Yeah,
specific
village
district,
business.
so, right.
Right.
so.
I would just
let's
call
see.
it downtown, Hampton
Yeah.
Bays downtown.
Okay, and
Strike
then on the
district.
next page at the top, we would just take out the word district.
On page
Okay.
4. Yeah. Janice, I have a question. One of the things that have.
Can I say Hamlet Center?
Sure.
Excuse me, before we go on. Can I say defining the Hamlet Center?
Where we,
Where you said to cross out district on the first page.
just oh, you mean on the cover page?
The downtown
Okay.
district. Where would you,
Yeah.
the downtown Hamlet
Wait.
Center?
Whatever you
You
think
do
is
use
best.
that,
We
there is
do
a
say it
terminology,
quite a bit.
Hamlet Center, in one of the whereas clause, with the third
Well,
whereas
we
clause.
talk about the Hamlet Center in our
Yeah.
comp plan
Yeah.
and everything. This is the Hamlet Center.
Yeah, I don't
for
see-
sure. So you want me to replace downtown district with Hamlet Center? That makes sense?
That might be clearer.
Okay, I mean, that's a defined term in the code?
It is.
Center? Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
Excuse me.
thank you, Janice, and thank you for your diligence in working on this. One of the comments that came to us as well had to do with, vehicle accessing Good Ground Park. There was an edit made to that.
Yes.
Okay. and
Well,
that's-
there was arrows, which it was pedestrian or roadways, just meaning that the idea is to bring people off Main Street northward to Good Ground Park.
And historical concepts provided some new image.
Well, we've struck that image out entirely, so it's not even there anymore.
Okay,
Page 17.
thank you. Yes.
And then I just didn't know what you wanted to replace it with, so I just went to the original, like the profiles of Hampton Bays, the historic documents, and just pulled out some pictures of the historic architecture. I don't know if that's suitable or if you want to take that out, but I just for, you could see the roof styles and pitches and the way that the window rhythms go and stuff like that, historically speaking.
Maybe we could just go in order. Pages,
Sure.
Because I'm not there yet, because also.
I also have copies, if anybody would like them, of the
This-
actual.
I guess I'm gonna go get my book because I didn't.
Because this morning, I didn't get to read through what you gave us, so there might be a response to some of my questions in what just came in.
I'll put the rest up here.
Did you need to put anything?
So this is the third version. There's a second version that was posted online. This third version is also online, but it starts on page 2. That the cover, this was the original, like this past meeting, and then you said you didn't want me to go over it.
Yeah,
So
because I hadn't finished reading it, so now I have, but not what you just gave us today, so, but I do.
if you look on page 2, it says the cover said second draft, and now on page 3 it says final, but this is obviously not the final. It's probably more like the third draft.
Mhm.
So, and then you see on page 2,
Yeah,
I'm going back.
Wait 1 second, because Cindy just went to grab her book.
oh sure.
you want to sit with us instead of standing the whole time?
Oh, I don't mind.
It's going to be a while.
I think we could start. She can catch up, right?
Okay. Yeah.
She's right here.
Excellent, thank you. On the second page, someone had mentioned, one of the constituents that said, that we referenced the meeting that was in the fall of 2016 and then the one in early 2017, but there were subsequent meetings, so it might make sense to just reference in general the subsequent meetings as well.
Sure. Okay.
And then in number 2 on that page, where we say a family-friendly hamlet, should we say downtown because we're just talking about we're not talking about the whole hamlet of Hampton Bays?
I think you would again say Hamlet Center.
Okay. Okay. And then on the third page, again, somebody mentioned in an email to us that the 2020 census referenced 15,000 residents instead of 14,000. So would that be, I don't know if we have anything to support that, but is that, that's not a problem to just make that correction, right, to the 15?
That's fine.
But
This has been
reference the
going on
time.
so long, let's.
Yeah. Let's see.
So
okay.
wait, what does that change? So are we gonna check with the
You want me
official
to-
census of the tracks
Does
in
it really
and around
matter?
Hampton Bays to get the correct
You
number?
could say home to instead of almost over, but if you want the specific number and then next year that number won't be right again.
about just many?
As
would
of,
just use the
you
word
know,
many.
as of 2020 or whatever the most recent census is. Just because 14 isn't accurate.
Well, can't we just say many full-time residents and leave it at that?
No, let's just be more specific since it's already got a number in there.
Well, this calls into question what we're calling Hampton Bays, the
Yeah.
school
Well,
district,
now
the
you're
water
not talking
district, the
about
fire
this
district.
area, you're talking about the hamlet as a whole now.
Yeah,
So,
I
this
can
is
tell you
not the
where it is,
district
but
anymore, this is the
you know.
hamlet.
Oh, no, the sentence was put there for whatever reason that Hampton Bays is the home to almost 14,000 full-time residents, making it the most populated hamlet in Southampton. So if it's really 15,000 as per the 2020 census, it's not a big deal just to note.
Just to reference the.
I'm not
in
objecting
general.
to changing anything, so
Okay.
whatever
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want me
Well,
to
I'm
change, I have no problem.
wondering what the change is.
The-
Okay, but
The 2020
14.
census number is what we will look up and put in here.
Okay.
We're all agreeing with 2020
Yeah,
That's
unless
good.
we did, unless they.
and say as per the 2020 census.
I sent you all my edits, my requested edits ahead of this meeting. I mean, does this mean now that we're now gonna have another public hearing on this? If we're making
Well, I think
these-
you're doing this on the record and you could then close it after this hearing with written comments and then we would
Even
have
though
a-
nobody can comment on the edits we're currently making as we go?
Well, if you close the record today with a comment period,
Okay,
then they can.
okay.
But if you keep it open, then we'll be doing this, until
No, I think we're
whenever
ready.
you
We after
feel
this.
satisfied, I guess.
Well, I think, it just, we weren't ready to discuss it at the last public hearing, so we put it over to this one, and now we are ready. So
Okay, great.
I like that idea of closing the meeting. If we're at the end, that's what we think. All right, so on page 4, I see that you made the change to east-west, but the word district is theirs. You want to make the same corresponding change. It's in the second paragraph on page 4, the Hampton Bays downtown.
Yeah.
Okay. Where is it? Hamlet Center. And then this version, I don't know if this is why, but the version here, it's very blurry.
We
in the
fixed it. It's
second
been
version.
fixed.
Okay, thank you. And then there was something about on page 6, that references in the third sentence, a companion to the town code, the pattern book. And I think that was objected to because it's not part of the zoning. I mean, would be part of it's really a companion to the comprehensive plan, wouldn't you say?
I would just say the pattern book visually articulates.
Okay,
And just,
all right. That's good.
not get into that.
Excuse me, point of order, exactly what were you doing with that?
This is- Bob, we're
I beg your pardon,
yeah.
but I-
No, we can't. But we got to follow the rules.
So instead of saying a companion to the town code, eliminate that wording and pick it up where it says this pattern book visually articulates ... Oh, and then maybe you did this already. Sorry if you did. On page 9, now you took out the building heights, but in the little box in the middle of the page, it still references the building heights on page 9 in that little blue box.
Okay. Are these just your edits, or you wanted me to go over the edits we already made? Or what are we doing here? I'm just getting a little confused.
Well, I went through to see between the last 2 meetings to see if the edits that I had requested were in here. And then I also read some feedback from community members. So those are the only ones I'm talking about, not the ones that I asked for that got made.
Oh, okay, all right.
But if, you
These
know,
are additional edits now, is what you're going through.
yeah.
Okay.
But if you wanted to go over with us,
No,
The
that's
ones-
fine. I handed it out and it's self-explanatory, so in the interest of time, just any additional ones would be good.
this won't take long. But, somebody said something about on page 14, majority storefront on street type A and street type B. And I'm not, what does that mean to you, majority storefront?
The majority of the more than half.
The street has storefronts
frontage.
along it.
No, I mean the frontage, does that mean more
this
more
type
than one
of street
storefront in
is-
each
If
building?
you were planning something and you had stores, you would choose a street type that's consistent with what you were these street types are like a menu of options that you would apply based on what you were asking to do. So you would say, well, I want to do this array of stores, and so it would, you would pretty much choose street type A. If you were on a side street, you might choose street type B. If you were in an alleyway where behind a building where you're just gaining access, you would choose alley type A. And when you choose alley type A, here's what the best practice standard is. If you wanted to pick plan an alleyway, and you wanted to do 2 10-foot wide travel lanes, we're not going to deny you. It's that we probably wouldn't want you to do 2 5-foot travel lanes. It's best practices.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
So it's the majority of the occupants are storefronts, is what you're saying.
If
That's what you
you're
mean by
planning a
majority.
development, we don't know what people are planning. Like somebody may come in and say, I have this piece of property, what can I do here? And I'm Joe Smith, and I want to build these stores. And how do I design it?
Mhm.
And so we would then say, you design it using these standards. You would
Mhm.
want to do street type A, where the
Mhm.
travel lanes are 10 feet. You design some diagonal parking, and then the
Yeah.
sidewalk furniture zone, and then your frontage of your building. So it gives you that sort of layout.
I feel like
But
we're having
when-
another work session.
But when you say,
Yes.
I'm sorry, is everybody in a hurry? I want to go through these.
No, I
It's
just feel like this
important.
should be done at a work session, not at a public hearing, so that the changes can be made and adopted and people can speak on them. But we're changing it now. People are here to speak on something that we're making changes to as we're going.
I don't.
Well, we
And it's
weren't
hard
re-
for
we
them, in
weren't
their
ready.
defense, it's hard for them to track the changes that we're requesting and making on the floor that they're then being tasked with responding to.
But
So I don't see how you can close this out and move on because.
But in all fairness, I don't see a problem with going through these issues
Go ahead.
on
We
a
had a
more
work session, and
transparent
I had
basis.
a lot of comments that most of them were incorporated. But then at the public hearing, we got a lot of feedback.
There's been a lot of
And those were all added in here.
I don't
and
think
they're
they
all,
were
a lot
all.
of them are all in here.
All the
They
ones
are.
that I just mentioned that came in emails were not.
And
included.
can I just say I commend you, Janice, for all of this work because this is a lot of work. But what I think,
And I want to
the
thank Janice
supervisor-
for off the cuff answering all these questions.
I know.
and-
Let me just. I just think what the supervisor is trying to accomplish here is that there were comments waged at this board at the last meeting that we're not doing this in a transparent way. And what the supervisor is doing is she's being transparent in some of the concerns that were brought to our office, each of our offices, and trying to demonstrate that there is a genuine collaborative approach that is being exercised here.
Because they weren't included, so I just want to
I'm
bring
fine
them
with
up
what you
here. So when you say thank you, Michael, when you say multifamily and street type C, I thought we weren't encouraged, multifamily, maybe I'm not thinking about it correctly, but to me that means more than one, the type of building, that it would be all residential building.
Yeah, you could do if you were doing, and if you want to strike this out because you want to preclude anyone from doing a multifamily, like, it seems to me that this is now being used to like go in the other direction to say, now let's strike out any potential for multifamilies on the other way around. If you were doing multifamily, there's not to say you can do multifamily or you are doing, but this is how you should orient the street.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to take it out, that's fine too.
No,
but
I'm
this
not saying that. I'm
is
just
this
saying-
is a street type that if I was doing a building that had, you could do one building, one house. You could,
This could
any
also
kind
mean
of
Commercial
multi.
below and 2 apartments above. That's
That's
a
not
type of
technically
multi.
multifamily, so I mean, if that's the direction you want to go in, you would take that out, I guess. But if you wanted to give someone's design parameters, you can keep it in, take it out, whatever. But yes, if somebody was doing 2 buildings that were, let's say, a townhouse, where it was allowed downtown, this is the street type that you would encourage someone to.
So you don't have parking on both sides, basically. You only have parking
Right, it
on
would
one
just
side.
be more of a 10-foot wide travel, a little less urbanized than the street type A, which is more of your, like here in the village, where you see the
Yeah, green space.
parking and then the sidewalk and then the store. This is a little less, where you only have a 8-foot wide, parallel park on one side maybe, and the other side is more streetscaped. So these are just, again, it says, these street types are not exhaustive. It says note, that's a mistake. Not exhaustive. Streets could be a combination of angled and parallel parking in addition to one-way travel. Cross-access and shared parking agreements are typically required. Design should be compatible between components of street types, meaning if you had one parcel and you created one street type and the guy next door creates another kind of street type, we want them to align. And any reasonable person would know, we would do that anyway. We don't need guidelines to tell us to do that. We would just make sure the roadways align and make sense. So,
And in fairness, we have never taken every single bit of feedback and changed whatever we were doing to accommodate all of the feedback we required. It gets to a point where you have to say, okay, we're comfortable with this, we're good with this, we've removed all of the things that can be precluded as zoning. This is simply, if we're getting down to word by word, we may as well take this book and we may as well toss it. Because you're getting it so watered down now that it really, what is it doing? And I think we're at a point where we need to say either we're going to do a pattern book or we're not going to do a pattern book. Because I think I'm comfortable with what we have, with the changes that we've incorporated, and I would like to move forward. And if we just keep making changes every public hearing, where do we get with this?
I don't think we're watering it down too much, and I am almost finished, so if you'd just please indulge me for another couple of minutes. On page 80,
We've got to all take our time so there's no mistakes. And I'm fine with, if we have to keep on going through this, I'm fine with it. But in the past, you rush things, the other board rushed things, and they had mistakes. And
I have no problems.
we should take our time and listen to the people.
Okay.
Years.
Page 80.
okay.
7 years.
On the curb heights, I thought that, just an exception to where it says a minimum of 6 inches, because I think they should be 6 inches, right? Because when would you ever want them to be more than the standard?
If you have a planter.
Then, people are going to trip over the curbs and say, your curbs are too high, you're causing a problem for us.
But if the curb is the front of a planter, it has to be more than 6 inches high.
What,
Well, maybe
Where
you
are
can
we?
define
I'm
it
sorry.
on
80.
page 80 on the
Page.
curb heights.
Okay.
That was one of the things
Got
that I had said, and you incorporated it, and I appreciate that, thank you, but I think, when you say that the standard for curb heights is 6 inches, but I wouldn't want to say a minimum of 6 inches, unless if, to Councilmember McNamara's point. if
It
it's
really
the
shouldn't say
curb from the
shall, because
street.
this isn't a code, so it should just say curb heights should be, because you're not codifying this right. So
Yeah.
there is no shalls.
But I wouldn't say a minimum.
Mm.
And then I thought on page 94 that we were gonna say something about no backlit signs, that we were gonna, or is that,
It's already in the sign code. The only place that backlit signs are allowed are in highway business.
We removed this.
So
Yeah.
we did take that out, and we removed the entire sign
There was
section,
a-
actually.
okay.
So if you look in the new, so in the bulleted list, we took out,
The appendix with the
the
sign.
appendix, you'll see in the last
My
page of
request.
the list. It says appendices, remove signage guidelines. Removed appendix A, appendix B became appendix A, we removed appendix C, D became B, and E became C. So now we only have 3 appendices, A, B, and C. Does that make sense? Good,
I
Now,
mean,
great.
I don't know if it makes sense, I don't hear really what you're saying.
I asked that it be removed because we have a sign code and we don't
It's
want
here in what I
this
gave
book.
you. You can see the new appendices that we created. So it's all there.
I asked that it be removed because we have a sign code that is changing and we don't want this to become out of compliance with our actual sign code, which some things were in conflict already.
Yep.
So rather than put it in this, because this is not code, we're letting it just be our sign
So
code.
the only
if and when
thing you
that
wanted
changes.
in the appendices now are the figure ground studies, the references and resources, and the glossary. Those are the only 3 appendices. Previously, I had the whole feasibility study that was done by Historical Concepts. We took that out. We took the sign guidelines out. So now you just have the figure ground studies, the
It's too
references and
bad that all the
resources.
sign examples came out, these are examples of signs that would be acceptable.
Well, the thinking was that the sign section could be worked out as its own separate, like best practices for the sign code when it gets amended.
We can use those pictures and we can use
We
them
could
to
just
complement
reuse those
our
pictures separately.
code.
Does anyone else have any other edits that you want me to note down at this point?
No, my main concern was addressed. I appreciate that.
Sure, no problem. Good. Okay, thank you.
Well, yeah, I mean, sure
Thank you,
there's gonna be
Janice.
questions. Okay, Gail Lombardi. And after that, Bob Tyson.
Hey Gail, how are you today?
Hey, Gail.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the privilege of your time. I hope you will give me just a couple extra minutes because I presented the letter for the Civic Association. So I want to speak just a couple of minutes as a representative of the Civic and then on my own behalf.
Gail,
She's the rep of the civic, so I think we do.
And also because I'm working with like a disability, so if you could just, I'm going to try to stay within the microphone, but I didn't get a chance to review the new pattern book, so these are basically comments from the old pattern book. And also, I agree with Supervisor Moore, I'm a little disappointed the sign is taken out because the signs in downtown Hampton Bays are really just awful. And number 2, comments to Janice Shearer about that Hamlet Center. That actually has a definition in the corridor strategic plan, which I don't think is what Supervisor Moore wants to accomplish, because not that Supervisor Moore and I talked, but I agree with Supervisor Moore, those standards should be from tip to tail, from Jones Road to Canoe Place Inn. So if there's some way we could get those standards across all of the corridor, that would be greatly appreciated. And so all those definitions are in the corridor strategic plan. It should be, I don't know if there's a map still in the new pattern book, which was the old HBDOD boundaries, the village business boundaries. So
Gail, did you just ask us to expand this pattern book
The-
for
the picture,
from
some of the-
Jones's Road to Canoe Place?
some of the pictures, some of the architectural standards, as Supervisor Moore said, we had an auto zone go. I don't want to take up like 3 minutes, but we did have an auto zone going in. Do we want those flashing lights? We have the diner going in. We do have a cannabis
with you.
dispensary
Okay.
on our
Thank you.
planning board. We have Heatherwoods. Wouldn't it be nice if some of the design, I'm saying specifically the design standards, get spread out. And it's a thought. I mean, I don't think you could do it in short order,
Okay.
but it would be nice.
Wanted to underscore your statement.
Because
Thank you.
Tommy John, again, it's my 3 minutes, but Hampton Bays is unique.
I asked you a question, so. that-
Okay, Hampton Bays is unique.
Okay, thank
Is
you.
that we go from village business to highway business in a blink of an eye. So now we have now cannabis dispensaries were not universally disliked, but we have a cannabis dispensary on the planning board agenda on Thursday that's at the old bank next to Carvel. So I guess people could smoke and get munchies and go to Carvel. But, we have, like whoever brought up Carvel, it would be nice because we have this unusual situation in Hampton Bays if the design specifications could be, and I'm talking about specifically design specifications. So, Mr. Pell, I'm sorry if I'm talking quick, but I'm trying to get to my 3 minutes. So I haven't reviewed that. So the letter executed by Ray D'Angelo, the president of the Civic, addresses the same issues previously addressed in the July 7th submission. The Civic submission was duly approved by the Civic membership at the August 26th meeting pursuant to the HBC bylaws. The letter confirms the support of the architectural features of the pattern book and supports the approval of the pattern book, but reaffirms its concern that it sets a foundation for the, heights greater than 35 feet, 2.5 stories, multifamily housing, and the good ground road access park being used as a vehicular roadway. And it references specific sites, not inclusive. I submitted an email similar, but now I'd like to speak on my own behalf and not as a representative. In the past decade, I've come before this board and as the Southampton board to gather all the relevant facts, apply the appropriate laws, and make decisions accordingly. In this way, the outcome may or may not be, may not be the answer some people like, including myself, but we will know that it is the correct answer. The town repeatedly failed to do this, and has forced some citizens, such as myself and others, to act on their own behalf.
30 seconds.
I'm sorry, just a couple extra minutes. Here in my jailhouse lawyer opinion, this town administration has undermined a legal zoning process by conflating an amendment to the comprehensive plan with quasi-zoning and a developer's plan, and exposed the town to potential litigation and investigation depending on the outcome. From a secret perspective, an amendment to a comprehensive plan is generally an unlisted action, and based on the town past practices, would normally approve a negative declaration. However, here, you will be hard-pressed to represent you do not know the potential build-out or represent that there is no plan when you have full knowledge of both. Therefore, you should be conducting a comprehensive EIS. The massing study, unless it's been taken out as Janice represented, the massing study provides for the build-out of 10 of the 55 acres of the village business zoning. If you extrapolate the massing study to the entire downtown, the build-out is 1.5 million square feet of development, with almost 1 million being used for residential use. The massing study build-out appears consistent with the developer's plan presented at the Alliance meeting, which Councilman Shivoni attended and commented to at the last town board meeting. Several town board members and officials have been at those meetings, and in fact, those meetings are conducted by town officials involved in the land use process. Whether or not you want to take responsibility for this situation of things being conflated, the facts speak for themselves, as you have had individuals stand here at this podium making testimony at the last meeting. A gentleman came up to you and said, I'm in favor of Mr. Kyle. I've seen Mr. Kyle's plan, I'm in favor of it, and I speak for not the Ram pasture, the Comran Point development. That's not on your docket. So this whole issue has now been conflated, and it's going to be very hard to unravel. In closing, I hope this town board ensure that they are following a lawful process, a thorough process, especially as involves the environmental review of any additional development, and does not expose the town to litigation and investigation. It is said that the town of Riverhead is taking action against the town of Southampton. But this is what happens when aggrieved parties believe that the town has not followed the law, especially under required secret. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Gail.
Okay, Bob Tyson.
Thank you for letting letting me speak today. I did have the opportunity to review the latest version in the library this morning before I came in. I did have several notes of what I thought were still improper entries in the pattern book. Reference page 6, page 7, page 10, page 22, page 34, and pages 52 and 66. I would be happy to elaborate, but I don't want to waste my 3 minutes. I urge the board not to approve the current version of the Hampton Bays pattern book, and that means the one September 5th version. To do so today, after several postponements would be excessively hasty and, I believe, thoughtless. The board should rely on a moral conscience, acting carefully and prudently. If this pattern book is nothing more than an architectural addition to the comprehensive plan, and most importantly, has no legal standing contrary to code, then why have there been edits? It makes no sense. Why have some references to height been removed while other references remain? It doesn't make sense. Please do not approve this version. Continue to edit. Who created this pattern book? Who wrote it? Who supplied material to be included? And who proofread it? I believe staff consulted with the Brothers Grimm. One might ask, what is the greatest fairy tale of all time? Hansel and Gretel, Little Red Riding Hood, Snow White? My choice of the greatest fairy tale is the Hampton Bays Downtown Revitalization Plan. I refer to it as a fairy tale because it is a fanciful story intended to please children. And there are no children in this room. Sorry about that. I believe the pattern book, as it stands now, is a nefarious attempt to circumvent the code. It should not contain references to building heights, nor references to 2.5, 3, and even 4-story buildings. By the way, what exactly is a half-story? A half-story,
30 seconds.
habitable, sounds like 3 stories to me. I believe the vehicular connection to the Good Ground Park is a violation of what a park's supposed to be. Mixed-use zoning, a floating zone, is essentially permission to turn this entire fairy tale into a housing project, void of commercial promises. How can we protect Hampton Bays from this tale? The answer is simple. Sanitize the
3
pattern
minutes.
book of all references contrary to code. Hampton Bays is not a community of idle rich.
No. Please finish up, Bob.
Right there. Hampton Bays is not a community of idle rich, strolling down the main streets in Southampton and East Hampton, looking to spend their discretionary income. Hampton Bays is a diverse community of family-oriented, hard-working friends and neighbors. It is a community that loves the oceans and the bays. Ponquag Beach, every day of the year, has visitors walking on the beach, walking over the bridge, biking on Dune Road, visiting the inlet. I find it hard to believe.
You're over your 3 minutes.
I got
Please hand in your, you can hand your papers to the
There's not
clerk.
much left.
No, I know, but we can't allow you to continue to go over the limit each time you're here. So.
Fair enough. Last little piece, then, there has or will be testimony by a shill and a shyster who will urge you to pass this pattern book today. Please give all due consideration that a fairy tale deserves, told to you by a shill and a shyster. Thank you.
All right, next is
That
Christine
was
Taylor.
completely inappropriate, I just want to say. Nobody's up here calling you names, sir.
Huh? I didn't call anybody in there.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you had a nice summer. My name is Christine Taylor. I'm a resident of Hampton Bays. I also am the president of the Hampton Bays Chamber of Commerce, but I am not representing them today just because I cannot honestly do so, as I've not spoken with all 140 plus members to get their opinion on everything. So I don't want to make a blanket statement in regards to them. I will say the members that I have spoken with that have businesses on Main Street, they are hurting. They have a lot of issues. They need more foot traffic. They need more people. They need to get people into downtown. And, you know, one way to do that is also to improve our facade, you know, and I think the pattern book is a good start so that we have a basis to go by. I know this gentleman here spoke about fairy tales. Apparently I live in one according to my husband. But my fairy tale, when I started getting involved in everything 3 years ago, was getting a sidewalk put in so that you could get from Main Street to the beach. And it has already started. And they've done it by the Coast Guard Station, and they've done it by Foster Avenue, and they've also done it on Shinnecock. I worked with Mr. Martell on that, and it's finally coming to fruition. So I believe in fairy tales, and I also believe that everybody has their is entitled to their opinion. But I feel like the main issue is people who are in the chamber and people who have families and people who have young children. They're working. They have jobs. They have children. They're children. They can't come to these meetings. They have a lot of responsibilities other than to sit there and find something wrong with everything that comes out. And it's not fair to those people who can't represent themselves because they're working or they're taking care of their businesses or they're taking care of their children. Because in all honesty, like, this is not really going to affect us more so, but more future generations, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. And what's happening in Hampton Bays, if we don't do something to improve it, it's going to go down, and it's going to continue to go downhill, and that's not fair to the future generations. We're supposed to support them, and while he says there's no children in these rooms, even though some people act like children, we have to realize that it's the children that we need to think about and what's going to be best for them. We need them to have places to come back and live here. You can't buy a house in Hampton Bays. If you go off to college and try to come back, you can't afford that unless you win the lottery while you're at college. You know, we need to have apartments, and we need to have, you know, condos, and we need to have things so they could have a couple friends and they could go to Southampton Community College, or they could, you know, start somewhere where they don't have to live in their parents' home. And I believe the pattern book is a good example, you know, of keeping with the nature of Hampton Bays. Like, I think of Hampton Bays as a fishing village, like, you know, being true to what we are. We're fishermen, you know, and everything like that. And I think something nautical, you know, just like, you know, gaslit street lamps, maybe a cobblestone here and there, just keeping with the nature of it, not coming in and building something bright, shiny, and new that looks completely out of place, but keeping with the, you know, the theme of Hampton Bays. And I think while I said, you know, some people are very vocal, I think we need to think about all the people who can't be vocal because they're working or they're in school or they're, you know, doing things like that. And we need to find a way to hear what they say well. And I'll stop now because that was my time. So
We all continue with more sidewalks next year.
I am so excited with you to see that because I saw them yesterday. They were clearing more. So
Yes.
thank you very
We're
much.
working on it. The whole board's working on it.
No, it's amazing.
John Leonard.
John?
Hello, how are you? Good afternoon, members of the town board. My name is John Leonard. I am a resident of Hampton Bays. I'm a business owner in Hampton Bays, and I'm the president of the Hampton Bays Alliance. And I come here to speak to you in all of those capacities. We urge you to adopt the pattern code. We urge you to close the public hearing, keep it open for comment, and put it on for resolution. The pattern book is a vital necessity for the hamlet of Hampton Bays. It provides for architectural styles, landscaping, streetscapes, which will protect the character of our community. We've said this over and over again, notwithstanding the fact that there were elements in it that may have conflicted with zoning code. Those have been taken out, so any commentary about that today is superfluous, and I think that we should just move on in spite of that. We know that this is not code. We know that this is an amendment to the comprehensive plan. It's a future-looking document. It provides for us to look into the future and see what we want for our hamlet, and there is wide-ranging support for it. It's not a fairy tale. Redevelopment, revitalization in Hampton Bays is not a fairy tale, no matter what anybody tells you. It may be a fairy tale for some people because they don't want to believe it, but there's a lot of people in our community who want it. In our last meeting, we submitted to you a first tranche of support letters, 52 letters from the community, in support of the pattern book and in support of revitalization and redevelopment in theory. Now, you have to understand, the Hampton Bays Alliance was formed because there was a vacuum with regard to support for revitalization and redevelopment in our community. There was only one side of the debate coming to these meetings and talking, and that were people who are against it. But there are a lot of people who are for it. So we submitted to you 52 letters. Today we submitted to you by email another tranche of 34 letters, broken down, and all together broken down as follows. 59 residents, 16 resident and business owners, myself included, and 11 business owners who do not reside in Hampton Bays. Total of 84 letters altogether were submitted to you in total, 27 from businesses. Businesses ranging all along the corridor, from as far west as the Hampton Car Wash and as far east as Canal Cafe. 27 businesses, 75 residents. That shows you support. And that's just the beginning. We are just getting started. You have to understand the Hampton Bays Alliance was formed in April of 2024. We had our first meeting in May of 2024, and we have only had 4 meetings. We're on to 5 tomorrow. We're going to be dealing with affordable housing, fair housing, and density as a topic, of an educational topic. We do not take any position with regard to any plan because why? There is no plan. That's the fairy tale, that there's a plan, that we are just in favor of development and revitalization in theory. And we're not saying what that should look like. That's going to be for the planning process. We have to go through multi-use zoning. But we have shown you today and in the past hearing that there is great support for this. So please, close this hearing, keep it open for public comment, and put it on for resolution.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Peter, is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to be heard at the public hearing?
No one on Zoom.
Well, I know some of the comments that we got were with respect to the photos, because some of the photos, they might be illustrating windows or doors or molding, and maybe the photo has a 3-story building. That doesn't mean that a 3-story building can go in. It's for just illustration purposes. So I don't want anybody to be concerned about that. And also, in West Hampton Beach, the code provides for, not the code, but the design standards that's part of the comprehensive plan allows for up to 3 stories on Main Street. But we never adopted a code that would allow for 3 stories. The zoning is 2 stories. But when it came time that we wanted to allow for 3 stories at a little boutique hotel that wanted to go in, we were glad that the comp plan had that in there. The design standards allowed for the 3rd story. So again, when I'm just trying to put people's minds at ease, if there's something in here that, might be a reference to that, it doesn't mean that that's what the zoning's going to include. It's just gives the board in the future flexibility if they wanted to go in that direction for whatever reason. So does anybody else have?
That would be when they put when the future board puts the zoning in.
That's right. And you want to, of course, adopt zoning to comply, with your.
Gives a little flexibility.
Yeah, you want to have the flexibility.
I like the pattern book. I like the different roof lines that are exemplified in the pattern book. And, it's a template for future prospects, so I support it, and I think we should close it and leave it open for written submissions.
Disappointed that the signage is no longer in there, because I think it's important that, Janice, are the things that were laid out in the sign guidelines here in the pattern book, more
There-
restrictive, less restrictive, or the same as what's already in the code?
There's things in there that our code does not allow.
Right, they're illustrative of our code. Our code does a good job of what these pictures are showing, but some of these pictures are showing things that aren't allowed in the code. So we'd rather take a holistic look at the code, make sure that's correct, and then the thinking was that sign code is for any Hamlet Center. It's for anywhere, so it's not just germane to Hampton Bays. It's for anywhere. These building prototypes and the South Shore, Maritime Mercantile and South Shore Colonial, et cetera, were developed for the downtown Hamlet Center of Hampton Bays, not necessarily all along the corridor and HB, et cetera. Same with the sign code, that they're a little more, widespread.
There's things that are allowed in HB that are not allowed in
Yeah,
HB.
so it just, instead of sitting here and going through the code and then maybe changing the code and then having to go back in and change the pattern book, it just seemed easier to take it out and come back with a sign code pattern book for the sign code everywhere.
Yeah, let's make sure we do that.
Sure thing.
Thanks. You got anything else? Councilman McNair?
Nope.
All right, then, I think it is time I move to close the public hearing with a 2-week period for comments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everyone, for your
Thank you, everyone.
detailed
Good input.
attention to this project. All right, that brings us to the public portion. The first card I have is from Carol McNeil.
Good afternoon. That was quite a discussion, a lot of time spent on it. Well, what I'm going to talk about this afternoon is, my name is Carol McNeil, and I've come before you to discuss my concerns about the Westwood property in Hampton Bays being developed by the Shinnecock Nation with plans for a gas station and travel plaza, and it directly borders my property. As I'm watching this and I'm thinking, wow, this is a major thing that's happening over there. And you guys are discussing a pattern book, which is important too to Hampton Bays, I do believe. Well, I'm retired, and I had expected to sit in my backyard and be able to relax, enjoy the view of the woods, and read a book. But no, today, most of the summer, I'm confined to my house or I have to leave. I find it hard to stay in my home Monday through Friday between 8:30 and 4:30 because of the constant disruption of the construction. We have attempted to mitigate our view. I've spent money on bushes. I put up a privacy fence above my pool, which looks awful, but the noise and the dust and the vibration is only gone when they are no longer working. Each day I'm faced with dust, pounding, noise, and continued vibration that have been measured by a seismograph that I have on my property. And it shows unacceptable levels of vibration for a person's well-being, and levels that almost reach New York State unacceptable levels for building damage. I will have it there for the next few weeks. My biggest concern is the fact that there has been no oversight of this project. I'm concerned for my safety in the future as well as now, and the safety of the surrounding community. No one has seen the site plan, well, maybe you have, an environmental impact statement, a traffic study, or anything else normally required by the town, county, state, or federal government for such a project. So today, I'm pleading with you to find out what's going on and do your due diligence to protect us from a development that would have a negative impact on the entire community of Hampton Bays, which is turning this good ground, which everybody calls it, into that bad ground. So I just had to come back today, express my concern.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gail Lombardi.
What's the name of the song?
First of all, I'd like to commend Carol for being so calm, because I would not want to be Carol McNeil. So, admittedly, my frustration is a decade old, and it goes back to the Anna Thornholtz days. So I'm sorry that this board, and specifically Mr. Powell and Supervisor Moore, bear the brunt of that, because we were told back then when we all talked about the illegal housing, we get what we deserve because of course I'm exaggerating because we're a working class community. Moving on to the Schneiderman administration, anytime we discussed anything, we were told we should be thankful we got the, Pound Park Pavilion rebuilt. And so, didn't matter. It didn't matter it was a town facility, it didn't matter it was a moneymaker for the town. We should be thankful, let them eat cake kind of thing. So going to Carol's point, now we're in Westwood. This is on you guys. You created this. I don't want to be suspicious of what.
Gail, I'm sorry to interrupt, but
No, you didn't create it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we did not create that.
I take that back.
Yeah, that's a
okay,
false
I'll
statement.
delete those words. You're absolutely right. I'll delete those words. We are where we are. You did have a presentation in February. Where we are today, it's a long, difficult situation. I get that. But where you were in February, and now it's been a month, now it's 2 weeks since people have come here, you know that there's frustration. The frustration I have is that I don't want to be a suspicious person, but there was all this talk about a casino in the village. Well, that went away, right? Would the outcry or the lack of outcry from this town board be different if there was a casino being considered in the village? That's gone. So being where, we call it what it is, this new housing project in the downtown, you start to feel like you're getting dumped on in Hampton Bays. 10 years I've been at this. It's not new about the downtown. It's not new about Westwood. It's a pattern of the town board dragging its heels, protecting Hampton Bays, and almost looking like it's okay, it's Hampton Bays. And so, I'm not on Quail Run, but in the long run, this is going to affect all of Hampton Bays. And I think in the short run, I don't understand how the town is not taking a more proactive approach to looking with other agencies of potentially putting in an injunction against the Shinnecocks. They're not willing to cooperate. I have nothing against development. I'm a capitalist. I believe development works. But at the same time, it's got to be, reasonable and rational development. And you're responsible for the safety and well-being of not just Carol and her residents, all of Hampton Bays. If they go into next phases, this is really going to be a tremendous impact on Hampton Bays. And if you look at the court cases, it is clear that the town submitted documents to the courts, and I'm going to try to get those documents, of why the casino couldn't go in Westwood. And some part of those documents, there's probably traffic studies, affidavits.
30 seconds.
They're still probably valid. I don't understand why there's not a proactive approach. And in all due respect, I know you guys have a lot of things on your plate, including the town attorney's office. But where I came from, if somebody came to me and said, I did these 10 things and I got nowhere, I would when my ID card wouldn't work the next day. What would have happened was that's a period at the end of a sentence. That's a comma. These 10 things didn't work, and now these are the 10 things I'm going to do to come to a resolution. I would never have been allowed to stop. I made these phone calls, and that's how I feel like you guys are handling this. I made these phone calls, and that's not fair. It's not fair to the community. That's not fair to the Carol O'Neills of the world, right? O'Neill, right? McNeils of the world. All
3
right,
minutes.
So I'm hoping that you guys are, taking a more proactive approach to trying to resolve the situation. Thank you.
Gail, we are.
Okay.
Look what we did to Bel Air. 9 months, it'll be torn down
It's
tomorrow.
7 years.
Yeah,
So
that was,
they don't have-
Gail,
Let him
you
finish.
talk. My turn. Took the other board 7 years to create the problem, took us 9 months to get rid of it. I'm already talking with Jackie about setting up the area for the new park, new bulkhead, okay? So I can get ahead of everything new. So hopefully, next year we can build, the following year it'll be done, okay? Michael and Marie Moore, the supervisor, had a meeting with with Nation yesterday, with our lawyer and their lawyer, okay? Some good things came out of it. Jim Burke been talking to someone upstate who defended them to get information, things to help. We are doing things. We have a resolution to approve money for litigation, so we can hire a lawyer to help us do this. We are working, yeah.
Okay,
And
you know what?
If it was up to me, it would go faster, but we can only go so fast.
Then you know what, you need, with all due respect, and I do appreciate, and I do, like I said, my frustrations carry over, so it's
Yeah.
not fair. But you need to let the community know that. 'cause
We are.
I'm.
Gail, we
do.
have, but again, you're giving out false information.
I'm not giving out anything.
Yes, you are. Hold on, Gail, because we have been telling the community what's been going on. When Carol reaches out and everything that we've been working on, my last email to Carol was exactly where we were at when I emailed her, in terms of reaching out to the Bureau of Indian Affairs, reaching out to our federal partners as well. Our town attorney's office has been looking through a lot of different legal documents. This is not an easy case.
It's not.
And the community needs to know this. The press needs to know this. This is not easy. This is a federally recognized tribe that got recognized in 2010. This is not a regular private property owner. So we are in a very, very unique situation, and we don't want to pursue litigation because that will cost the town millions upon millions of dollars that we are going to burden Hampton Bays and every other hamlet with. And if that's what this community wants, they're in for a very rude awakening of what that's going to look like. Not even just in terms of your tax dollars, but also in terms of our community togetherness that we need to try to uphold. We need to try to create synergy and unity in this community. That's our goal as town council members. This is not an easy fix here. But what we have been doing is we've been coordinating, we've been talking to the right folks, and we are trying to get to a situation where everybody's going to be happy. And what we did yesterday, meeting with the tribe, we saw that there is an openness to work with us, to provide some mitigation even, okay? This is a very unique situation and scenario. And the community just has to recognize that. And I get it. This is your backyard, and you've lived with it for a while. I understand that. And what you're seeing happen to your backyard is sad. And I'm sure it's affecting everyone in a lot of different ways. But they own Westwoods. They are the owners of Westwoods. They are the property owners. That is not in dispute. Now what we'd like to do is we'd like to find a way where we can make sure that everybody in the community and the Shinnecock Nation are all respected equally. And we hope to do that. And I'll leave it there.
Okay, well, again, if there was some new information yesterday, because we talk just about, not just Carol, a group of people talk just about every day, and that information needs to be made, not just to Carol, you need to let people know that you're working on this, because
We have been. My email to Carol McNeil indicated that we are planning a meeting with the tribe and a number of other detailed information of what our town attorney's office has been planning, as well as other communication
If
efforts.
it's not confidential, because obviously you're telling me, then you need to post that somewhere and tell us where, and we could make sure that the community, whoever that is, knows that. But right now, I'm sitting here visually in the dark and mentally in the dark.
Well, we have been very open and upfront with the community, and we're going to continue to do that.
So then
all of us have been.
Then just like you had a big, photo op at the Bel Air, how about putting something like that on the website?
Because we're not there yet. We have to get to the right stage where we can say we are doing this. We just said we had a very optimistic meeting with the tribe, and they're open to things. That's not solidified yet. We're not going to say, hey.
Gail, in fairness, there are some of us on the board that have no idea what happened at that meeting yesterday, so it's not that you were in the dark.
Yeah.
I'm in the dark, just as much
I
as you are right now.
I had a conversation with you.
Very briefly, and I didn't get a lot of details.
Michael, I understand.
Because Thursday we're having
This is unbelievable.
executive session to update the board.
You cannot wedge the community and continue to wedge the community
I'm
and
not
the
wedging
Shinnecock
anybody,
Nation.
Mike. I am based. No. Carol McNeil is a property owner.
And
the
I have
Shinnecock
been
Nation
in touch
is a
with
property
Carol
owner.
McNeil
Listen,
every
you
single
spoke.
time she has reached out.
Okay, I understand, and I've seen your emails to her, and I appreciate that. All I am saying is that when you're saying that we are all working towards this, some of us still don't have all of the facts. We weren't in your meeting yesterday. We don't know everything that transpired. We all need to have a conversation about
absolutely.
that.
That's why.
And to go and say publicly that we're hiring an attorney and we're doing this, we're doing that. We are all dealing with this in different ways. I have always been on the record as saying I want the Shinnecock Nation to build whatever they are legally permitted to build on that site. We don't know the answer to that. So that's where I personally am at, if you want to, because you're speaking generally on behalf of all of us, and that's not fair either.
I'm speaking in terms of our response to the community.
And I will say, this board authorized Michael and I and Jim to go and speak with the tribal
Correct.
council yesterday. Everybody knew we were going.
Yes.
The meeting didn't end till after 4. It's just the next morning. We haven't had the opportunity to update everyone.
Well, so then
So
that
we
should.
probably shouldn't
So
have
to, but
said
to accuse
anything.
me of trying to
Exactly.
drive a wedge
Supervisor Moore, I
between the
agree with you.
community and the nation
I
is not
agree.
fair.
So I agree with Supervisor Moore. Then this conversation, we should have just, kind of sucked it up and listened to us. The thing is,
We want to
I'm sorry.
assure you that we're working.
So,
on
I know, believe me, I see your side, and I see this board's side more than in the past 10 years, especially the new members. I really do. And we're not creating a wedge. And Michael, it's not Carol nor I are creating a wedge.
They just want answers.
We just want answers. And while you're pontificating and meeting and talking, they're with bulldozers and asphalt trucks. So you kind of have to understand the frustration, right? When you have knives, they have
I
guns.
understand the
Okay,
frustration.
and that's all. And so, so whatever you can communicate officially from the.
When we can, precisely. And I don't want to provide an update to the public that is a false promise.
Exactly.
So, but what I'm saying is I'm being open and transparent. That's what I'm providing to this community who have come out with questions. I'm being as transparent and open and honest as I can without, again, giving you false hope that, well, this is what it's going to be.
I'm
trying to be reasonable.
And I understand that. It's just, again, 2 weeks in your time, government time. I'm not familiar with government time because I worked corporate America my whole life. So government time is way different than our time.
Yes.
Again, your 2 weeks of talking, we were here 2 weeks ago, and their 2 weeks, and their life experience 2 weeks of digging in backyards is a disconnect. And that's all I'm saying. And you have to understand, and I know you do understand it, but I'm verbalizing that. And every 2 weeks that go by, the distance gets further and further. So if you guys are coming closer, at least getting closer, it would be nice. It would be, give some people some assurance that you are, taking the lead, that you are taking the lead for your people. I'm literally near tears from these people when I listen to them. I have to tell you. And I'm not directly affected, but eventually all of Hampton Bays will be affected if they go on to phase 2 or phase 3. All right, so thank you for your time. And
One more thing, Gail.
I don't want to. I'm not
It's only
trying
half a
to.
minute.
I genuinely.
Another time is what you're going to say.
They had the meeting. I did not find out anything what happened to the meeting at all either. But I know that I'm fine with waiting to Thursday in our executive session when they're going to sit down with the lawyers and say what came up about it. You have to have patience. You can't stop fighting with other board members over this because it doesn't work well. It doesn't help.
But again, as soon as you have information, you
Yes.
need to make it, put it on the website. You can't leave it up to Carol to send out emails. I mean, put it on the website, let her know, let somebody know it's on the website. And we can let whatever the community, where people have different ideas of what the community is, but we can let people know this is on the website. And if anybody interested will go to the website.
Everyone on this from the town attorney all the way down to the deputy.
Gail, the meeting
clerk
happened yesterday.
cares.
I know
Okay.
that, so that's why I'm saying,
Why are
but
we
again,
having
it's
this
your
meeting?
time versus a
I know,
bulldozer's
but what you're
time.
asking is unreasonable. What you're asking is unreasonable. The meeting just happened
I'm
yesterday.
asking unreasonable.
There's a lot of things, we still haven't, Councilwoman
Thursday.
McNamara has
In
just
her
stated.
defense, she said she understands that we just had a meeting, and when we have information that's available, she's
Yeah,
asking us to put it out in a
When we
transparent
have that
manner.
information, we will definitely let the community know,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
My first email to you, Mr. Iselli, was in March
We got to move on.
this year. I just want to leave it.
But you emailed me last week.
No, my very first email
She
about.
can't be heard. She
Yeah,
has to go to the
no.
phone.
I know. Thank you. Emil Braun.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your service. This is a letter that I wrote to Supervisor Moore on July 31st, and unfortunately, she has chosen not to respond sufficiently, so I'd like to read this letter to the town board. I'm writing herein to detail an inexcusable lack of response by the Southampton Police Department. I live full-time, 365 days per year, in my home at 1188 Scuttle Hole Road, Watermill. On Saturday, July 27th, 2024, a party was held at an adjoining property. 1164 Scuttle Hole Road, where a new house was recently built and is rented to transients. At 11:01 p.m., I called Southampton PD dispatch to report loud pounding bass music shaking the windows in my bedroom. I was told that an officer would be dispatched. At 11:40 p.m., I called again, and I was told that an officer would be sent as soon as one is available. At 12:16 a.m. on July 28, 2024, I called again to report that the situation was clearly dangerous, crowds of people, a tremendous number of vehicles parked on both shoulders of Scuttle Hole Road, and more vehicles blocking passage on the street. I suggested that perhaps the fire marshal should respond given the nature of the situation. Again, I was told that someone would be there when available. At 1:09 a.m., I called the duty officer and explained the entire situation, and I was told that someone will respond. No response was made at all, and pounding music continued until 3:00 a.m. On July 29, 2024, at 11:01 a.m., I called Chief Kiernan of the Southampton Police Department to discuss this total lack of response, and I was told that he was in a meeting. I fully explained the incident to his assistant, who assured me that he or his staff would respond to me. No response was received. On July 30th, 2024, at 10:00 a.m., I visited Southampton Police Department headquarters to speak with Chief Kiernan, and I was told again that he was in a meeting. I again told his assistant about the incident, and again I was told that someone would get back to me. At 5:23 p.m., I received a call from Lieutenant Spencer, to whom I related the incident. Lieutenant Spencer told me that he would look into the matter and call me back within an hour to tell me that he spoke with a duty officer from Saturday night and that an officer was at the location at 11:00 p.m. prior to my first call, and that it was too busy and there weren't enough officers to respond to every noise complaint. This is unacceptable. Due to the pounding music and my bedroom windows rattling, I was unable to sleep, and I spent the 4 hours, 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., sitting on my front porch waiting to see a Southampton PD response, which never happened. I respectfully request that you investigate and explain this failure by Southampton Police Department, as well as revocation of the rental permit for 1164 Scuttle Hole Road for gross ignorance of the law and exhibition of total disregard for the health and safety of the citizens in our community. In my position as National Chief Safety Officer for the Fraternal Order of Police, I am well versed in the duties, issues, and responsibilities of law enforcement and local municipalities in matters of this nature.
3 minutes.
And the failures of responsible parties in this instance is intolerable and requires further action. Thank you for your anticipated cooperation in this matter. On July 14th, I sent a second letter to Ms. Moore. Dear Ms. Moore, I now find myself writing about the lack of appropriate response from you with regard to my complaint sent on 7/30/124, stemming from an open house party held by a transient renter at 1164 Scuttle Hole Road on Saturday, July 27th. It has come to my knowledge that there were nearly 500 people in attendance, and the Southampton Police Department off-duty personnel were hired as security, apparently to secure that the party could last until 3:00 a.m. This totally exposes Lieutenant Spencer's excuse that, quote, we were very busy, end quote, as a right lie. I expect an apology from the Southampton Police Department, a letter of explanation from you, and a revocation of the rental permit for 1164 Scuttle Hole Road due to abuse, harassment, and multiple violations of codes. If this town board does not want to take this any further, I'm more than prepared to go to various agencies and file more serious complaints. Thank you.
Our attorney, Deputy Town Attorney Christine Scler is here. She'll be glad to speak with you in more detail about the incident and what occurred and what we can do for you.
But it is a shame that I had to come to this meeting to have a
Well,
conversation.
I was under the impression that your emails were forwarded to our chief and our code enforcement and that they responded, or that somebody from those agencies responded.
No, There was no response.
Both
And-
Jackie and
and I realize I'm
Murphy
beyond my
responded
time.
to him.
I believe, I'm being told that Jackie O'Neill from my office responded and that Ryan Murphy, from our public safety administrator, responded to your emails.
No, Mr. Murphy did not respond.
I'll speak with you. Okay.
Sir?
But I just want to mention one thing. Again, on Scuttle Road, Atlantic Golf Course started last week the construction of their dormitory building. We have been fighting in Supreme Court. There is currently a stay on construction pending the results of our Article 78 proceeding. But clearly, the building department, which is well aware of our stay, has chosen to ignore it. Thank you.
What was the date of the event? What was the date of the event again? I just want to make sure I have my notes right.
The date of the party
Yes,
was July 27th.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, would anyone else like to be heard? Anybody on Zoom, Peter?
No one on Zoom.
Sir, were you waiting to speak?
No, I'd like to bring him up.
Oh, okay.
Can I say something?
Could I?
Oh.
Okay, go ahead. I know.
If you, right, you were going to bring him up to the podium. What Bill's,
Yes.
Councilman Pell is referring to, I'd like to welcome Andrew Powers, our new AV head of CTV
Come on up.
Sun TV.
Hello.
He is he's in the back of the room.
I'd like to introduce myself to the board. My name is Andrew Powers, and I am the new CTV manager.
Welcome.
And I look forward to working with you all.
Excellent.
And I asked him about sitting in the back room and listening to see what he could hear, and he did it. So I'm so proud that someone in town hall, I asked him to look into it, and he's already checking it out.
Yeah, it's static in here, that's for sure.
Yes.
So I've been texting with Peter in the back, and we're working.
Thank you very much, and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
If you would. Something for you. Can we discuss this?
Oh, thank you very
Okay.
much.
Yep.
Okay. Appreciate it.
It's a sound
Welcome
technician.
aboard.
It's, you know,
All right, and if that's
Since
it,
we're
then
here.
Thought it was like a
Doing
PBA
that.
card or something.
So I move to close public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's go ahead with our resolution.
Okay. Town Board Resolution 1046 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilmember Uselli. This is to authorize the acquisition of a workforce housing deed restriction on the property located at 11 Suffolk Street in Sag Harbor through the Community Housing Fund.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
This is our first expenditure from community housing funds officially, putting covenants on a 6-apartment dwelling in the village of Sag Harbor, and they will be in affordability in perpetuity.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1057, authorized purchase of one ALPR camera-ready trailer with speed alert message sign from All Traffic Solution, Inc., using Sourcewell contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1058, co-sponsored with Council Members Pell, McNamara, and Scavone, to authorize the purchase of safety shoes from Suffolk County contract with Safeguard Safety Shoe Company.
Second. Glad
All
we're
in
all on
favor?
this. Aye.
Aye.
Michael
Aye.
Shada.
Yeah.
I wonder why. Does it like shoes?
Town Board
Oh, that's a good
Resolution 2024-1059, co-sponsored by the entire board, to authorize purchases from WB Mason using Suffolk County and Eastern Suffolk BOCES contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1060, co-sponsored with Councilmember Pell, to authorize purchases of construction equipment and dredging services from H&L Contracting LLC and Laser Industries, Inc., using Suffolk County contract.
Town Board Resolution,
You have to second.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Go.
2024-1061, sponsored with the entire board. Authorized purchase of Fisher snowplow and ice equipment from Suffolk County Brake Service using Sourcewell contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1062 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone. Authorized purchases of maintenance and repair lifts and jacks from PMT forklift using Suffolk County contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1063, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, to authorize purchases of plumbing supplies from Central Islip Plumbing, Ferguson Waterworks, Island Replacement Parts, Team Mina Supply LLC, and Sid Tool Company, Inc., doing business as MSC Industrial Supply Company using the Suffolk County contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1064 of 2024, authorize the purchase of electrical repairs and services from All Service Electric, Inc., using Suffolk County contracts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1065, to authorize the purchase of Motorola radios from Integrated Wireless Technologies LLC, using the New York State OGS contract with Motorola Solutions, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1066, to authorize purchases of tires, passenger cars, light, medium, and heavy-duty trucks, off-road equipment, and emergency road tire service from Suffolk County contracts with Barnwell House of Tires.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1067. Authorize supervisor to sign a contract with Colfine Technology, Inc. for document restoration.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1068. Resolution adopted amended Chapter 316 of abandoned vessels.
Is this?
I think you were gonna table that for a work session.
We fixed what was wrong with it. It was just we took out
You have to have a public hearing.
Yeah.
public hearing. Okay, we can do that. We'll table it.
Public hearing?
Yeah.
Was it a substantive change?
No, it just took how it was posted. Instead of the town clerk doing it, the Harbor Patrol has to do it.
Yeah,
That's like a lot of other
that's not substantive.
So we could just vote on it here, Jim?
I mean, if
But
that's the only
that's not the only
change, if I'm trying to
change.
recall, that's the only
I'm
change.
good either way. Whatever makes the board happy.
You want to hold it and look at it, make sure
Okay.
that if
We can
that's
do
the
that.
only change.
There's total changes.
Yeah.
It makes Marine Patrol the only agency that can, this is a lot of changes.
Not really.
Okay,
You want to table it?
We'll table it.
These are changes.
Second to table.
But if we can't vote on it because it hasn't been a public hearing, how do we?
He just said we can.
Yeah.
Look at it.
What, no, we're going to table it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're
He's gonna
we'll
look at
table it and then we'll decide next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Table.
we should have a work session.
Second to
Yeah.
table.
Okay,
Got to vote on it. Well,
To table.
table.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 To the next meeting?
Yes.
Should we have a work session? I mean, who's gonna fix
Well,
I'll put it on a work session. I'll talk to Jim.
yeah,
and
we'll
Sean.
let's just see if this changes were substantive enough to require another public hearing or not. If the answer is yes, then we'll replace this resolution with a resolution scheduling that public hearing.
It looks like, the 48 hours was put back in, and I thought we took that out to say that you can ticket the vehicles
You can ticket
at any time,
You can.
and then after 10 days, you can sell them.
is Sean, the town attorney or the assistant town attorney said we still can ticket them after 2 hours.
But
And it's
now
not
it says
impounded.
48 hours.
Yeah, you could do both ways, he said. So I asked him about an hour ago.
But if we put, all right, we should just talk about it as something, just to get it straight. But I think everyone's, in favor of doing it.
I'm fine. This, Councilman McGrath originally brought it up.
All right.
Town Board Resolution 1069 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the Watermill Village Improvement Association Annual Car Show on September 7th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I just want to note that they had their biggest turnout to date, and it was a great event. Town Board Resolution ID 1070 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the Hampton Bays Lions Club 13th Annual Over the Bridge 10K Run and 5K Run Walk on September 14th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1071 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Authorization of road closures and cost reimbursement waiver for San Gennaro, Feast of the Hamptons, to be held this weekend, September 14th to September 15th, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., with rain dates of October 5th to October 6th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1072 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the East Quogue Fire Department Seafood Party on September 21st, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1073 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the Hampton Bays Union Free School District Homecoming Parade on September 28th, 2024, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1074 of 2024, a resolution releasing the maintenance bond of 12 Foster LLC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1075 to adopt the 2024 part-time salary schedule.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1076 to accept the resignation of Kathleen Hanson, Office Assistant in the Comptroller's Office.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1077 to accept the retirement of Thomas Weber, Senior Building Inspector in the Building Department.
And he will be, second, and he will be missed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1078 to appoint Dawn Kuzak to Senior Office Assistant position from the Civil Service list.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1079 to appoint Ann Meyer to the minibus driver position in Senior Services.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And
Aye.
co-sponsor? Madam Deputy? Thank you.
Town Board Resolution 1080 of 2024, attendance at the Dignitary Protection Training in New York, New York from October 8th through October 10th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1081 of 2024, authorize town personnel to attend the 2025 Association of Towns Annual Meeting and Training School.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1082 to terminate an employee in the Building and Zoning Department.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1083, termination in the Highway Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1084 to terminate an employee in the Municipal Works Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1085, co-sponsored with Councilmember Scavone, notice of public hearing to consider amending Southampton Town Code Chapter 298 to amend Article 8 to authorize an exemption for the creation of new accessory dwelling units within the town.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That'll be September 24th, public hearing.
Sorry about that. Town Board Resolution 2024-1086, a notice of public hearing to consider amending Town Code Chapter 312, amending parking time limited to designated locations regulations, and adding parking prohibited in designated locations regulations on a portion of Corwith Avenue in Bridgehampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's also on the 24th. All right, and then we have the walk-ons. Town Board Resolution ID number 47380 to authorize the supervisor to execute an intermunicipal agreement with Suffolk County as it relates to the use of Suffolk County Water Quality Protection and Restoration Program for Phase 1 of the Riverside Sewer System.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution ID 47386, authorize waiver of Parks and Recreation Facility use fee for the Hampton Bays Lions Club 13th Annual Over the Bridge 10K Run and 5K Run Walk on September 14th, 2024.
Second, and Madam Deputy co-sponsor?
Myself too, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47388 to approve the warrant number 17, Capital 17, CPF 17, dated September 10th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47390 to retain Farrell Fritz, PC, as it relates to the matter of the Town of Riverhead et al. Versus the Town of Southampton et al. And the Riverside Sewer District Project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47393 to retain Brian M. Killian Esquire of the law firm of Morgan, Lewis and Bockius LLP for federal and state land use matters.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47395 to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with Great Lakes Dredge and Dock Company for the Bridgehampton and Sagaponic Beach Erosion Control District Nourishment Project.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. I'd like to co-sponsor. too.
Myself
Thank
too.
you.
All right. Well, that's it then. I move to close the meeting.
One other thing.
Second.
But Bill would like to say something else?
Yes, since the town clerk's away, I just want to make a note that the deputy did an excellent job today.
Wonderful job.
Thank you
Wonderful
for sitting
job.
in and taking care of us
Absolutely.
And
today.
her deputy did a beautiful job over there.
Yay!
Thank you.
And I think when you work the meeting, you should also get the parking space for the.
Yes.
Just want to make that.
Because parking's very tight in
Suggestion.
town hall.
Thank you all.
All right.
Thanks,
so
Kimmy.
Move to close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.